All right, everybody, welcome to Newsroom Live. It is Thursday, December the 18th. I'm Antoine Lewis coming to you from the newsroom of Fox 5 on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Very happy to see you this morning, and thank you so much, afternoon actually, and thank you so much for being with us. A live look outside really quickly because we want to get into the weather, but just want to let you know what things are looking like right now. We do have clouds out. The temps are a little bit warmer than they have been. You see, we were in the low 40s yesterday. We're actually climbing up. We're in the upper 40s right now, but we'll get into weather in just a little bit. But our top story that we want to bring you right now, the resignation, if you will, of Timothy Cardinal Bishop as the Archbishop for New York City, for the New York Diocese, and his successor has also been named. Let's show you his picture because we're going to eventually bring in, and that is Ronald Hicks. Father Ronald Hicks, he's a bishop also as well. But for right now, we want to talk to Sharon Curley, who's standing by from St. Pat's. And Sharon, just bring us up to speed with what you can about the replacement, about the resignation. And as always, it's always good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Antoine. And I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning because, of course, I couldn't wait. It's like I wanted to know. We've been reporting all week that this was going to happen at 6 o'clock our time and 12 o'clock Rome time. We were waiting for the word from the Vatican. But Cardinal Dolan, Pope Leo, the first American Pope, accepting Cardinal Dolan's resignation today and officially installing in just a few months Bishop Ron Hicks, a fellow native Chicagoan. As we know, Pope Leo is from Chicago, and they grew up about 12 blocks from each other. They didn't know each other in childhood, but they did meet in person and have a conversation just within the last year and have gotten to know each other, and they have mutual friends who recommended the bishop for the job. He is seen as someone who is aligned with the Pope in his thinking and in his style, a very progressive leader, and also someone who speaks fluent Spanish and is considerably younger than the outgoing Cardinal Dolan. He's 58 years old, so he's bringing a lot of exuberance and energy to the job. But before we get into Hicks, we have to talk about Cardinal Dolan and how beloved he is here in New York City and around the world, Antoine. So it is a bittersweet day for myself included. He has been part of someone I've interviewed over the last decade multiple times, and he's always just so friendly and so welcoming and always willing to share his thoughts, especially at this time of year. But as we see in the pictures, which I'm sure you're going to show of them this morning, they had a joint news conference at 8:30 this morning, and Cardinal Dolan really, as you would expect, so welcoming, put his hand on his shoulder as he guided Bishop Hicks to the New York media, which can be intimidating to anyone, even if you are from Chicago. And the new bishop said that he knew we were all trying to figure out who he was going to be. And basically, it seems like he has a very optimistic attitude and really willing to get to know New York. He's only been here, Antoine, 10 times.
Wow.
So, but he said that every time that he left New York, he was always wanting to go back and felt very welcomed when he was here. And he is someone who, like the Pope, and you can interrupt me at any time because I've got a lot to say, but he is someone who, like Pope Leo, worked in Latin America and really helped the poorest of the poor. And so he's really interested in going to all the different communities here in New York, especially the immigrant community. He did say that he supports strong borders, but he also supports the right of law and people's due process, I should say. But he also directly addressed the Spanish-speaking Catholics here in New York City by speaking fluently in Spanish to them, welcoming them, letting him know he's going to be getting to know them as well. So it was a very interesting joint conference, and we're getting ready to have a Mass here at 2 o'clock where together they will celebrate Mass. So we'll have even more information after that. But I'll stop talking for a second because I know I'm filibustering here. I'll let you ask me some questions, Antoine.
You are fine, Sharon, and I just want to let everyone know that Sharon also does our franchise here, Finding Faith. So she is our religious voice, if you will, in our newsroom, and she does that. But so that's why she's talking, and that's also part of the reason. And then she's a journalist, so that's why she was also up at 6 o'clock in the morning. But let's talk about the two.
That's right.
Because we know that Cardinal Dolan, a little bit more conservative, and he's being replaced by someone more in line, you know, with the progressive values of the Vatican right now. What have you been hearing? I know you've been doing interviews and stuff leading up ever since it was announced. Just tell us what you can talk to about the differences between the two.
Yeah, so it's very interesting because we have a new mayor that's going to be starting on January 1st as well, a very progressive mayor, Mayor Mamdani. And we also have President Trump, a former New Yorker, but still with strong ties to New York, who has a very aggressive immigration policy with ICE agents coming in here and impacting the immigrant community here in New York City. So I was not at the newsroom, but I was texting my colleague Jessica Vermosa. I'm like, ask him how he's going to handle a relationship with President Trump or when ICE agents. But another reporter asked him that. And as I said, when it comes to immigration, he wants to be welcoming of the immigrant community. He himself says his roots are his family members were immigrants as well. But he says he believes in due process, you know. So we'll see how that goes. He didn't say whether he had talked to the President Trump or had talked to the new mayor-elect Mamdani. But certainly he'll be having those conversations after he's installed. What he's really doing is he's the future of the Catholic Church, and you could argue the future of the Catholic Church worldwide since he was installed by the first American Pope, Pope Leo. And so Pope Leo, and this is true in private corporate America as it is true in the Catholic Church, basically for such an important job as to lead New York City's 2.2 million plus Roman Catholics. It's a very influential and important position in terms of the direction of the Catholic Church worldwide. And so he certainly wanted to put somebody in place that he knows, that he trusts, that comes highly recommended. And he said that he had spoken at length with Pope Leo before humbly accepting, he put it, this job. So it'll be very interesting. And I don't think we're going to see the end of Cardinal Dolan. He's not going to go quietly into retirement. I mean, he's probably got books to write, and he's still going to be such an influential voice with such great experience and knowledge, and so respected as the leader here in New York for since 2009, 16 years, and leading us through some really troubled times, not only COVID-19, but also the ongoing clergy sex abuse scandal. And just recently we covered how he settled with some 1,300 survivors, the diocese selling off some very valuable real estate to meet that settlement. Kind of clearing the decks for the new guy to come in. But, those are some problems that are lingering with the Catholic Church, of course. So he will have his hands full, but he does seem to have the full support of Cardinal Dolan behind him.
Sharon, question for you. Now, we're going to revisit Cardinal Dolan in 1 second, but I want to ask you this. I was raised Baptist, so my introduction to Catholicism, to the degree that it is now, grew tremendously when I came here 15 years ago, so about 6 months after Cardinal Dolan started in his position that he's now resigning. Talk to us about the feel amongst Catholics here in New York. Something new into the year. Is there an excitement?
Wait, I'm sorry. There's a bus behind me.
Okay.
Ask me again, Antoine.
Yeah, and I'll even project a little bit, Sharon. Just talk to us about what's the feel amongst the Catholic community right now? Is there excitement, anticipation?
Yeah,
just walk us through.
Yeah, so I interviewed a bunch of people last night about this very issue, and it is bittersweet for many Catholics here in New York because, as I mentioned, Cardinal Dolan's so beloved, and they're sorry to see him go because he was such a good leader here and really distinguished himself from other cardinals and leaders of the Archdiocese of New York who came before him. He really was somebody that made a strong impression on the community. But people know, he's 75 years old. Under church law, he he had to submit his resignation, so they are hopeful. I talked to, even family members have told me, give the new guy a chance. Let's see, because it's going to be hard to replicate Cardinal Dolan's style. I will say Bishop Hicks is super personable and friendly and full of enthusiasm and energy on his presentation, even in front of the intimidating New York City media.
Oh, yeah.
But, we'll have to wait and see. And I think New Yorkers are willing to give Bishop Hicks a chance and see how things go.
Sharon, thank you tremendously for your insight. I know you're going to be doing triple duty for us for the rest of the show. So to you and the crew, we want to say thank you for being with us for Newsroom Live. And as always, you're always on top of whatever you are working on. So say hello to the crew for us. And again, one more plug, because we want to let everyone know that Finding Faith, all of the stories that Sharon has done and put together, you can actually find on the platform that you're watching right now. So she's got a piece on the sculptor.
Yes.
He did a sculpture of Pope Leo that's right behind her, actually, that Sharon profiled.
That's right.
Yep.
And
go ahead,
Antoine,
Sharon.
before I let you go, I just wanted to tell you that I do have a pre-arranged interview with the Cardinal tomorrow. We're going to have an exit interview, and we're going to stream it live and then run it on all our shows tomorrow. And then I also have a Finding Faith special, which we look at all religions, and that's going to run on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, so we hope you'll tune in then. And of course, as you said, you can find it on the Fox Local app or the Fox 5 NY YouTube channel.
And that is why she is a legend in our newsroom. Sharon Crowley from Midtown, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you in the evening show, Sharon, and I'll see you at 4 o'clock, I believe.
All right, sounds good.
All right, everybody. Sharon Crowley reporting from Midtown. Staying with news here in New York State, New York Governor Kathy Hochul announcing plans to invest $77 million in subway safety. So here's what's going on there. She says that the money will allow the state to hire more than 600 officers and put them in the subway system per day on the platforms, on the trains, and also cover overtime when it's necessary. Now, New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch was with her, and she's also weighing in on this. And what Tisch was saying was just talking about how this will enable the NYPD to maintain deployments, as well as how it will shift public safety, the narrative on the subways, by allowing so much to happen in that regard. But again, $77 million is being invested from New York State. The governor announcing that as far as subway safety goes, and we're keeping you up to date with that as well. All right, other news that we're following here in New York State. After making his first court appearance, Luigi Mangione, we're going to Nick Reiner. I'm sorry, after making his first court appearance, Nick Reiner is being ordered held without bail. And these are sketches from that appearance, which took place yesterday. 32-year-old Nick Reiner is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the deaths of his parents, director-actor Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner. At his attorney's request, Reiner did not enter a plea, and his arraignment has been postponed until January 7th. Authorities have not said anything about a motive in these killings, and at this time, prosecutors have not decided whether or not they will be seeking the death penalty. The other possibility is life in prison without the chance of parole. So that's the latest there. Now let's go to Lower Manhattan and talk about Luigi Mangione and the latest in that case. We actually have breaking news to pass along to you. The judge in this particular case says he will decide in May what evidence prosecutors can use in Luigi Mangione's murder trial. Now, here's what's going on. Mangione is accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown last year. Prosecutors rested their case today after calling nearly 20 witnesses over 3 weeks of this pre-trial suppression hearing. Mangione's defense team did not call any witnesses, and they want to exclude a gun and a notebook / manifesto, if you will, that was seized when he was arrested. This video that you're looking at right there at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. The prosecutors also, the defense rather, also claims that investigators did not follow proper protocols during this exact scenario that you're looking at right now. This is the body cam from one of the officers responding there when he was identified, Luigi Mangione. And people at the McDonald's called in, and they actually recognized them. I was in court last week when this came out. The people who started to call the police actually recognized him because of his eyebrows. And you can see he had a mask on. He also had that hat on, but other people that were in the McDonald's went to some of the employees there and were like, hey, I think this guy is that guy in New York. And this kind of started the chain of events that you're looking at right there with the body cam footage. And again, that's him being taken into custody. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to state and federal murder charges. The pretrial hearing only applies to the state case. So it looks like a decision will be made there sometime next year in May. All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick break. More Newsroom Live, more headlines, and we're going to be talking about the weather when we return. All right, everybody, welcome back to Newsroom Live. We're taking a live look outside, and Audrey Pointe is joining us. But Audrey, before you came down, I was telling everybody how it's warmer today than we've had in the last couple of days. We're at 47 right now.
Yeah, it feels really good out there. Hello, Antoine.
Yeah, always good to see you, of course. But it does feel good.
It does feel really good out there. Temperatures are above normal, as you mentioned. We'll be running about 10 degrees above normal as we go into tomorrow, too. But don't be fooled, because tomorrow the high temperature will be in the morning, and then by the afternoon, it'll be a big rush of cold air coming in. So, yeah, folks will leave in the morning and be like, oh, okay, it's going to be a nice day because it's going to be mild when I step out the door, but that will be the mildest. And then after that,
I've got a question. Never understood how when the sun goes down, sometimes it actually feels a little bit warmer than when the sun was up. We were talking about that in the field, the crew that I was with a couple of days ago. We were in place, and we were noticing that when we were getting in place for the 6 o'clock live shot, it felt a little warmer than it did at 5.
That would make sense because you're getting a delayed reaction of the heating of the day, right? Because the heating of happens over the landmass is not in direct proportion with the position of the sun at the moment, right?
Okay.
Because though it's setting, but you're now experiencing the hottest part of the day or the warmest part of the day, or you know what I mean, just before the temperatures will fall once the sun sets.
That's what that is.
Right, because even though like at noon, the sun will be overhead, right? Directly overhead, and you would think that should be the hottest time of the day, but it's not. There's a lag period. It doesn't really happen until like 3 or 4 o'clock. That's when we get our high temperatures of the day, and at that time the sun is already on its way down, especially at this time of year when it sets at like 4:30. So that's
the reason for that.
Yes.
Okay, so I can pass that along to Dan Foley and
also,
Christian Perez, whom I was with.
And it works in reverse in the mornings. We have our coldest temperatures right at sunrise, right? People think, oh, the sun's up, it should be warmer, but we could actually see, sometimes we'll get a degree or 2 drop right after sunrise. Yeah, because there's a little bit of a lag.
I did not know that, but that's why you studied meteorology. So, all right, how are we looking for the rest of the week?
Look at my wires all hanging out. I'm messy. I'm messy this today, folks. I'm trying to get it together today. I'm having struggles today.
Vinny, won't you roll her stuff while she gets that wire together?
All right, so we have a wind advisory that goes into effect starting tonight at midnight. This will be all day Friday. Big thing tomorrow. Okay, I know a lot of folks are talking about the rain that's coming, and yes, we will see a good amount of rainfall, roughly about a ½ inch to an inch. That's not that impactful. However, we could get a rumble of thunder too, so people may be surprised. What I think people are going to notice more is the winds. We could have wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour tomorrow, and that has prompted the National Weather Service to issue this wind advisory for the entire Tri-State area, and this will last until midnight tomorrow night. So it'll be a windy day. Factor in rain in the morning, which could be moderate to heavy at times. Is that graphic not moving? That is my fault. I'm sorry. Let's switch to another source. I thought I fixed that before I came here. That's what took me so long to come here. Okay, so
wind, rain, and tomorrow.
Now we're gonna have rain in the morning, and so factor that in with the winds, right? We might have some down power lines, down trees, because it'll be a little soggy, things like that.
It'll be that strong.
Yeah, we could have wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour, and that's tropical storm force winds. So, and sustained winds could be as high as 40 miles per hour. That is, a tropical storm force wind is at 39 miles per hour. So it could feel like a tropical storm, especially northwest of us, Antoine, like up by, let's say, Binghamton towards Kingston. They could have sustained winds up to 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a very strong cold front. Right now it's moving into like Chicago area. It's producing some thunderstorms there. It extends all the way from the western Great Lakes down towards the Gulf Coast. They're seeing some stronger storms too in the southeast today. So here's a look at the future cast. We see the rain coming in. It'll be in rounds. So tomorrow morning for the commute, I'm saying if you are going to be out and about like between 5 and 7 a.m., you will encounter moderate to heavy rainfall. There'll be a little bit of a lull, I think, between 7 and 9, and then that front starts to push in, and then we'll have another line coming through. And within that line, there could be some thunderstorms, and then everything kind of clears out by lunchtime, or at least moves to the east a bit, and then the cold air comes in. So the cold air will be here for the afternoon. So again, tomorrow we'll start out with that 58, right? That'll be in the morning.
Nice.
That'll be early in the morning, and then we're in the 40s by the afternoon, and then 30s tomorrow night. So big drop.
All right, so this is where things stand right now. Sunny
This is the
47.
stuff I love about weather. It's so fascinating. It's all over the place.
No, but it's interesting.
Yes.
You know, especially as you explained to us how the system is moving, and just the different layers. I mean, to go from 58 and then
There's a
drop
lot,
all the way down 20 degrees.
I love looking at it on a temperature map because you can see the contrast between the reds and oranges where it's warmer, and then right behind the front it's blues and purples, and it's exciting for people like me, like all of the weather. Just saying.
It's not that I'm not excited, but clearly, no, we like that.
So you're going to need to be dressed for everything tomorrow, right? Because in the morning you'll need your umbrella. Then by the afternoon you will need the coat and layers because it'll be dry in the afternoon, but it's going to be cold and very windy. So you need it all tomorrow.
So what we want to remind everyone is if you have plants or anything that could be considered a projectile,
bring it indoors.
Bring them indoors
tonight.
Tonight.
The winds will start picking up to this evening. We're going to have 20 to 30 mile per hour winds tonight, gusting to about 40, and then tomorrow it'll be even more fierce. So
the last time you and I were together here, I don't know if you remember, it was like 2 weeks ago. We were doing that. We were also having a wind advisory. Remember, I told you the plant. On my balcony.
Is this
the holly, exactly. It kept
lolly.
getting blown down, and I remember wouldn't put it back up. She said, "Bring it in."
Right.
It's still down, So
Why?
because of what you just said, we're gonna have a wind advisory tomorrow. It's gonna knock it down
Wait, so
anyway.
it's been knocked down for 2 weeks now?
It's been laying on its side for 2 weeks. But Audrey, the wind is going to blow it down. I work till 6:30, 7 o'clock. By the time I get home, I can't keep going out there picking this thing up.
Look at how you're treating it. How do you think it's going to respond?
I watered it.
You just splashed it while it was lying on the floor like that? Like Vinny's like, right? You picture it, right, Vinny? He just like threw some water at it, like left it lying down like that. Like
I uprighted it.
Don't you ever hear about talking to plants? You talk to plants, how we
treat them. And you want to know what I told it? Without the bad words?
Oh,
I was tired of seeing it laying on its side, fill in blank side.
You were tired of seeing it on its side.
Because it keeps, every time I go
and
home,
how is the plant supposed to pick itself back up? Oh my God,
after the wind passes, then I will go back out there and pick it back up.
Bosses are like, what are they talking about?
So anyway, and Vinny's not helping matters here. All right. Anyways, all right, we will need to be prepared tomorrow for rain, wind, and then a drop in the temperatures as well.
Yes, very cold. And, okay, so let's go a little further. Tomorrow's Friday. Weekend looks pretty decent. It will be much colder, though, so this is it. Enjoy today. This is really just enjoy today, basically, because it's going to be cold over the weekend, and no major storm systems in sight, which is good as we head towards Christmas, which is next week.
A week from today, yes.
Right. So, Christmas Eve is Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What's today?
Today's a week before Christmas.
Oh my God.
It's-
I got some things I need to do.
Do you
I got
drink?
some-
Are you more a tea drinker or a coffee drinker?
Tea? I've never tasted coffee. Remember?
Tea. Okay. All right. So there's a new study out that says that drinking tea for women is actually a better choice because of better bone density as women age. So the study is coming from the Multidisciplinary Digital Publishing Institute, who I've never heard of until I just read this. They found that tea drinkers had a slightly stronger bone density compared to non-tea drinkers. Researchers looked at drinking habits of nearly 10,000 women aged 65 and older. You're nowhere near that.
not,
No,
no.
nowhere near that. And also examined long-term changes in bone mineral density, a key measure in assessing osteoporosis risks. So the findings show that women who drank tea showed slightly higher hip bone density than those who skipped it.
Interesting.
So another benefit for women and just overall health in general, you know, just to drink tea, you know.
Very good.
No hate to the coffee lovers, not saying that, you know, but for those of us who do like tea, then there's that. All right, this one I got a surprise for you. Whenever she comes, I always try to get something that will get a reaction from her. Vinny, show the NICU, roll the NICU video. Yep, right there.
Babies?
You got it. So here's what's going on. You're going to get that. So
Babies.
apparently, some babies in a NICU in Cleveland are getting into the spirit. The nurses there,
gosh, look at that.
they decided to have an ugly sweater competition or dress up some
Stop
of the
it.
NICU babies in this way
my
of trying to get
gosh.
them into the spirit.
Oh
So
my
they
gosh.
did Christmas sweaters in very different, you know, styles, as you're seeing right there. And this is Cleveland's Children
Oh my
Neonatal
gosh, look at
Intensive
the little
Care Unit.
Santa outfit.
So that's right. That one is cute. That's
That
kind of an
Olaf?
ugly one.
That's
Yeah.
Olaf on the
From Frozen, right?
Yes.
So anyway, hospital officials say that each family will keep the
my
special
gosh.
crocheted holiday hats and sweaters as keepsakes. And look at that,
That
little
is-
gingerbread
that-
man.
oh, no, that's my
was
favorite.
cute.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah, that one
That's
got
my
a strong reaction too.
Oh, that's cute. Look at the cat in the
no,
tree.
that was
That's
neat.
cute too.
That was neat too.
And then with
So-
the matching hat, you see the cat matches the hat.
yeah, I did
Oh my
notice
God.
that. This Grinch is also
Oh
pretty
my
awesome.
God,
But
these are really
anyway,
good.
that's everybody. We wanted to share with you some awe as you're going to be going out into
Very cute.
into the cool at some point. But anyway, so that's it.
Very
Always
cute.
good to see you.
You too. Thank you for
All right.
having me.
All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back with more Newsroom Live when we return. All right, everybody, we are back. Antoine Lewis, happy to be with you on this Thursday, December the 18th. Welcome to Newsroom Live if you're just tuning in. And we also want to invite you, whatever the platform is, whether it's our Fox Local app or it's our YouTube page, in the comments section. If there is such, leave us a comment. If you have a question, anything that you want to share, tell us what's on your holiday shopping list, whatever that may be. But this is our way to engage with you outside of our traditional news format. All right, we want to revisit our top story here at 1:30, and that is, of course, Cardinal Dolan Dolan, Timothy Cardinal Dolan, has tendered his resignation this week. That's him on the right. He's joined by his successor, and that is Bishop Ronald Hicks, who will be replacing Timothy Cardinal Dolan as the Archbishop for the Archdiocese of New York. A little bit about Bishop. He is from Joliet. Well, he's currently the Bishop of Joliet, Illinois, which is also where he's from. Incidentally, he's also from the same Chicago suburb as Pope Leo. They actually lived apparently 12 blocks from each other, but they did not know each other at the time that they were growing up. So they do have that in common. But anyway, he's walking to the podium because both gentlemen addressed the media that was there today. And Timothy Cardinal Dolan has been in position for 16 years, and he has done a lot. For those of us that have had the chance to interact and engage with him, he is simply a lovely man. He is absolutely, he has a sense of humor, he used to charm, you know, and it's just, he, as Sharon Crowley had mentioned earlier, was just absolutely a charming, an affable, someone who could approach, and was also a very spiritual man. So it's going to be a tremendous loss there, but there's a lot of promise, you know, that this brings with Bishop Ronald Hicks. So anyway, Dolan earlier today at this news conference was asked about looking back on his accomplishments, and here's what he had to say when he took that question.
Good morning, everyone, and peace be
That's
with
Hicks.
all. For being here. My name.
You asked me if I feel I've
Yes.
accomplished what I set out to do. No. And that ain't bad, because there's always a lot left to do, and I'm glad he's here to do it. Am I grateful for the things I was able to accomplish with God's grace, His mercy when I failed, as I often did, and with the support of priests, my brother bishops who are here today, my auxiliary bishops, our clergy, our religious women, and the great, great laity, and Archbishop designate, the wonderful community, the Jewish community, the community that may not share our Catholic faith but want the church to succeed, with the political community, with the business community. They're all behind you. And this is a great city, and you're going to love it.
All right, so there is Timothy Cardinal Dolan, again, standing next to his successor, who also, we had played that side, but now we will play it because Hicks, Bishop Hicks, you know, who will be replacing Cardinal Dolan, also addressed, making his first comments to the New York media, and here's what he had to say.
Good morning, everyone,
Thank you.
and peace be with all of you. I just wanted to begin by saying thank you for being here. My name is Ron Hicks, and I have visited New York about 10 times in my life. And every time I have visited, I have said to myself, I love it. I love the culture, the food, the energy, the plays, the neighborhoods, but especially I love the people. I love the people from all over the world who call this place home. And every time that I've visited, I've always said, I look forward to returning. And this time I'm returning not only as a visitor, but I'm going to be returning to stay. So I would just like to share a couple more things about myself. My parents, Ron and Rosalie Hicks, are retired high school teachers, and they raised my brother and I in the south suburbs of Chicago, in South Holland, Illinois, which is right next door to Dalton, Illinois. Now, South Holland and Dalton might not mean anything to you, but Dalton is where our Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV, grew up and is from. And our houses are literally 14 blocks away from each other. So I would like to simply begin by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to Pope Leo XIV for this appointment. And I'm getting used to the microphone system here also. But I want to thank him for my appointment here. As someone who has dedicated a portion of my priesthood to serving in Latin America, I have a deep affinity with the Holy Father, and a tremendous respect and confidence in his leadership. I'm also grateful to Cardinal Christophe Pierre, our Apostolic Nuncio, for his trust that he's placed in me. When he called me to share the appointment, I told him that simply, I want to do the will of God. I asked him to tell the Holy Father that I say yes with great humility and that I accept this appointment with an open heart.
All right, everybody, and again, those are the first remarks by Bishop Ron Hicks, who will be succeeding Timothy Cardinal Dolan as head of the New York City Archdiocese. So we're going to stay on top of that. That is our top story. But I also want to tip in now to North Carolina, because we're following some developing news into our newsroom. And I want to let you know that right now officials are investigating a business jet crash that took place at a regional airport. And from what we are learning, that the plane is owned by Greg Biffle, NASCAR driver there, and we can let you know that they have confirmed there are fatalities. This is coming from Iredell County, which is where the plane apparently went down. It was a Cessna C-550. It crashed while landing at Statesville Regional Airport, about 45 miles north of Charlotte. Now, this is according to the FAA. Golfers were playing next to the airport. They witnessed this disaster. Some, from what we're hearing from reports on the ground, some of the golfers even dropped to the ground. This was at the Lakewood Golf Club while the plane was overhead. The ninth hole was covered with debris. So again, this was all taking place right there and there. Then NTSB and the FAA are investigating. AccuWeather says there was some drizzle and clouds at the time of the crash. The plane took off shortly after 10 a.m., but then returned and was attempting to land there. And that information is coming from FlightAware.com. So there are fatalities involved in this crash. We do not know the exact number yet because all of this information is still coming in. It's still developing. We'll keep you abreast of that on the platform to which you're watching us right now. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back with more Newsroom Live. All right, everybody, welcome back to Newsroom Live. Antoine Lewis, very happy to be with you. We want to revisit our developing story that we just talked to you about before a break. There was a plane crash that happened about 40 miles north of Charlotte. NTSB and FAA officials. We're going to be hearing from them in a minute, but here's what happened. A business jet crashed at a regional airport, the Statesville Regional Airport, again about 45 miles north of Charlotte. It happened this morning. There have been confirmed fatalities. We do not know the number of people that perished in this, but the plane was a Cessna C-550, crashed while attempting to land at the Statesville Regional Airport. And here's what we can tell you about that. According to the NTSB and the FAA, that the plane had taken off, and shortly it left around 10 o'clock, but then returned for some reason. It was attempting to land, and this is information coming again from officials there on the ground. It's next to a golf course, and apparently on its descent, from what the AP is reporting, there were golfers on the ground who actually ducked and started to get out of the way as the plane was making its descent. And then again, we're understanding that it exploded upon, once it landed, erupting in a large ball of fire. And again, there are fatalities. We do have a sound bite coming from the news conference with a little bit more on this, and we're going to play that for you right now.
Chief David Only, Police Chief, and Chief Glenn Curfew is our Fire Chief. So we don't have a lot to share this morning, as this is still an active event, but I just wanted to let you know that the city did respond to a crash here at the airport this morning at about 10:15. It's been a multi-agency response. We've had city, county, state, feds are here. So we have had, again, everybody is here on site at this point, and we anticipate that this is going to go on for quite some time. Since we don't have a lot of information to share today, and since this is evolving, either the city or other agencies will take the lead in putting out more information as the day goes on. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to John Ferguson, our airport director.
Thank you. Good morning. Like we said, approximately 10:15 a.m., we got a report of a corporate jet that crashed off the end of the runway on the east end. When actually I came out, it was already fully involved. We've had multiple agencies, as you said, come. The FAA arrived about 12 o'clock today. They're taking over the scene. They're taking over the investigation. We have no information on any cause. The airport now is closed until further notice. It will take some time to get the debris off the runway to get it safe again. At this time, I'm also still don't have any other information than what we've already said. I'll turn this over to, go ahead, you do it.
Again, we'll provide updates as soon as we have them, either by us or other agencies. And if you have direct questions that you want answered, you can email those to me, and we will try to get these back to you as soon as possible. Again, my name is April Nesbitt. It's ANESBIT at statesvillenc.net. Thank you all.
No number of people on the plane or anything? And it happened during...
All right, so you were just hearing officials in the Charlotte area giving an update on the plane crash that happened around 10:15 this morning. We have learned that the plane is possibly registered to NASCAR driver Greg Biffle, and we have a picture of Greg Biffle. Again, there have been injuries. We're not sure who was on board or any of that information. As you just heard, the officials also underscoring right there, but it happened around 10:15. According to FlightAware, the plane took off from the airport just after 10, but then returned and was attempting to land when then, as you heard officials say, it did crash next to a golf course. The runway is right there next to it. It's a Cessna C-550, and it was attempting to land at the Statesville Regional Airport. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back to Newsroom Live. Antoine Lewis, very happy to be with you. And we are in the middle of the flu season, so a lot to unpack here. We're going to talk about the flu season. We're going to talk about vaccines, all of the things right now. But just to let you know, as it's been underway, ERs have been busy dealing with a new strain. It's a subclade K variant, also known in the labs as H3N2, that variant. And for what we understand, it is very aggressive. So for more, we're going to go to Dr. Woody Myers, former New York City Health Commissioner and the current Chief Strategy Officer at Wellness Equity Alliance. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Myers. We have Dr. Myers? Yeah. Okay. Dr. Myers, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you just there, so thank you for being with us. What can you tell us about H3N2?
Well, it's one of the variants that has appeared this year. It's in the influenza A family. There are different kinds of virus families, and influenza has an A and a B family. We're seeing it emerge now over many places in the United States. It's one that we are a little bit worried about, but we do believe that the current vaccine is able to cover it. So that is one of the reasons why we're making the public more aware of it. And it's just another reason to get your flu shot done.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for that. A lot to unpack here. We know that it's aggressive, or at least the information that I had before. What makes this even more, I guess, problematic, for the ERs? Does it pass more faster? You talk us through it.
Well, viruses mutate, and that's one of the concepts that we learn about in biology all the time. As things move forward in time, they try to evade the problems that will get them eliminated, and viruses are no different than any other organism in that respect. And so this is one of the variants in the influenza A family that has emerged, and it's seemingly more resistant to our natural immune system and a little bit more resistant to the vaccines that we have today. But those vaccines are still effective and worth getting, even though we're getting close to Christmas. So if you have not received your vaccine, please go get it today and tomorrow so that you can be protected for the holidays.
Absolutely. That's some really good advice about going to get it. And you raise a good point because a lot of information now people are trying to process in regards to vaccines and vaccinations. There's information coming from the DC, from politicians, from the White House about it. Can you just talk to us, everyone that's listening right now, about vaccines and flu vaccines in particular? Because some people think it's wrong to get one. Others say, I need one. Walk us through, flu vaccines.
Vaccines are one of the miracles of the time that we live in. When I was a child, there were very few vaccines that were effective that are available. And as I went to medical school, and for the last 30, 40 years, there has been tremendous development in the quality and the quantity of vaccines for a whole variety of diseases. And we should be thankful that the scientists that have been working on these now for decades have done such a fantastic job. No, vaccines are nothing to be afraid of. In fact, I would urge us all to listen to those sources that I think have the most credibility. And with respect to your children, I believe the American Academy of Pediatrics is one of the best places to go to get your information, if not your own family doctor or your own pediatrician. I can almost guarantee that your doctor is going to tell you that for you and your child, getting the vaccine for whatever the disease complexes are that are most worrisome for your age group or your location is the right thing to do. So yes, there are people in Washington, D.C. that have political motivations that I do not understand, that are trying to discourage vaccination, discourage patients from getting them. That is just wrong from a public health standpoint. It is wrong from a medical standpoint. And I'm ashamed that we now have these kinds of changes that we see that are political within the Centers for Disease Control and perhaps in other agencies. They have to know that these changes that they're recommending are damaging the health of Americans. So listen to your doctor, listen to the American Academy of Pediatrics, get your child vaccinated, and get it done soon.
Dr. Myers, who's most at risk when we talk about, the potential to be affected? Who's most at risk?
With respect to influenza, it's the elderly, people over 65, or people with underlying diseases, people with diseases, for instance, like multiple sclerosis or diabetes or heart disease, because their bodies can't take on an additional problem like an influenza infection very easily. It's also the very young, the infants. And some infants, of course, do have immune problems. That's why it's important that your pediatrician guides you with respect to when and what kind of vaccinations are appropriate for your child. So it's those groups that we worry about the most. But everybody else in the middle can benefit from having a vaccination as well.
One of the other things that I was curious about, some people say in regards to vaccines, you know, even within my own family, that they won't get one because they got one the year before and they got sick. Can you just address that myth? Yeah. Is that a one every 3 persons type thing? Because I never got sick after getting one, but I know several people, and we've done stories around people who say they get sick after getting a flu vaccine.
Well, there are a small percentage of people that do get 2 things. One is a local reaction in the shoulder, a little bit of burning and irritation. Not everyone gets that, but some people get that. It goes away usually within 24 hours. It's easily treated with Tylenol. And then some people get what we would think of as a very mild episode of the flu, also going away in a few days. And those are the people that I worry about the most, because we think that they're the ones that if they did not get vaccinated would have the worst cases of the flu. So it's not something that you should worry about. Yes, it is something that happens in a small percentage of people. In my opinion, it is well worth the risk to get that small reaction versus the risk of getting the flu, because flu is still, for some patients, a deadly disease. And I just do not want any of my patients or anybody else to have to go through the awful feeling of that nausea, that vomiting, that malaise, all of the complications that can occur in the lungs, the heart, especially if you're over 65, when you don't have to go through it.
Dr. Myers, as I mentioned in the intro, that you are former New York City Health Commissioner, and I just want to ask you, in that capacity, can you just talk to us about making sure that information is gotten out to the 5 boroughs? Just walk us through the process, you know, about how you are trying to make sure New Yorkers understand information and just the information distribution. You know, this is the first time we've had a chance to interview a former New York City Health Commissioner in this capacity. Just walk us through how you're trying to get the information out to New Yorkers, and even how you address skepticism, you know, from
it's my privilege, first of all, to address New Yorkers again. It's been a while since I've had that opportunity. And yes, in all 5 boroughs, there are substations of the health department where you can get information. There are a number of outpatient clinics in all 5 boroughs from all the major hospitals, and certainly in the private practices of medicine. All of these institutions, all of these offices do have the kind of information that you need. And unlike when I was health commissioner many years ago, the internet can be a valuable source of information if you go and look in the right spots. And what do I mean by the right spot? Yes. I would again say it's the American Academy of Family Practice, the American Academy of Internal Medicine, and if you got a kid, it's the American Academy of Pediatrics. Those are the most reputable, the best sources, along with the website of the New York City Department of Health, which is a stellar institution.
Dr. Myers, okay, you opened up a door, because just this week, I think I did the story a couple of days ago, there was a story that came out, the AP was one of the, and Reuters also published that information coming out from the health community advising people to not go to ChatGPT or AI to try to diagnose anything. I think I already know where you're going to go, but I'm going to give you the floor anyway. What is your thought, you know, on this very topic?
Well, you know, what many physicians refer to that today as going to Dr. Google, because so many people will just plug into the Google website and they'll get information from all over the place. Some of it might be right, some of it might be accurate, but today more and more we worry that some of it is not. That's why you have to be a little bit more particular. You have to go to the right places, to the authorities. And tell you what, if I'm advising my patients, it's going to the health department website. It's going to the websites of the major academies that graduate physicians to give them their board certification, to keep them up to speed on all the latest information, So the Academy of Pediatrics, internal medicine, family medicine, those are the best sources. And if you're pregnant, go to the Academy for the Association of the Obstetricians and Gynecologists. They give you the best information as to what to do specifically when you're pregnant and you have these questions.
Dr. Woody Myers, former New York City Health Commissioner and current Chief Strategy Officer at Wellness Equity Alliance. Thank you for being with us today on Newsroom Live, and have a safe and enjoyable holiday season, sir. Thank you so much for your insight and your wisdom today.
You too as well. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, Dr. Myers, and you stay right there. We're going to take a quick break, everyone, and then we'll be right back with more Newsroom Live. All right, everybody, if holiday scamming and fake refunds or emails or any sort of communication you've gotten, here's what we want you to know. With the season underway for shopping, avoid being targeted by a fake refund scam. Experts say that shoppers should never click on any sort of refund link in an email or a text. They're getting very crafty. Experts recommend turning on the multi-factor authentication and removing personal info from data brokers. The FTC is actually reporting that Americans lost around $2.9 billion to scams related to online shopping last year. So know that if it says click here for a refund, no, do a little bit more homework before you click on that email or in the text. And finally, before we go, if you thought you were going to be a Powerball winner, well, you still have a chance because no one matched all of the numbers last night. So luck is still on your side, and the jackpot is actually climbing right now. It has risen to $1.5 billion. The next Powerball drawing will be on Saturday. If there's a pool in your office, absolutely get into that pool. All right, everybody, we're going to say goodbye to you, but stay right here because Kicking and Screaming with Bianca and